All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music and doing it in real time for a few real people out there just like you and just like me. So, as the journey turns, I'm going to be talking about Journey and the future of Journey, and I have some thoughts about this latest lawsuit as Jonathan Cain basically files the same lawsuit again with the American Express card and then the hotel room stuff. And I've got some thoughts on this and what the future for Journey might entail. And it's not good, folks. This time around, it's not good. And I'll tell you why. Before I get there, I'm going to be featuring some albums on the show that you may have missed the first time when these albums came out. And I've got a collection of CDs mostly and a few LPs, but a lot of CDs that I purchased that I don't think anyone else purchased. And I'm going to start with one of my favorite bands, the Atlanta Rhythm Section. This album is called Eufaula. It came out in like 1998 or 99, right at the height of alternative music and grunge and all that stuff. Grunge was actually starting to fade out, but alternative pop and all that whiny music that was on the radio at the time. And this came out, and Ronnie Hammond comes back to the band, who is one of my all-time favorite lead singers. The guy was just irreplaceable. And they've tried to replace him a couple of times. And they've got a guy out there who was in the band at the very beginning, and he just, for me anyway, in my humble opinion, just doesn't hold a candle to Ronnie Hammond. But this record came out, then the record label went belly up. There's a track on here called When. It's just a one-word title, When, but the rest of it too is just like vintage ARS. Ronnie's voice is a little more gruff than it was back in, say, 1981, but it's still a work of art, just one great song after another. And because the record label went belly up, and because the music industry at the time, and it's been that way for over 30 years now, wasn't very conducive to a band like the Atlanta Rhythm Section, nobody cared, and the album wound up in a bargain bin, and I scooped it up because I'm such a huge ARS fan, and I've listened to that thing like 1,000 times. So it's just a great album. You may disagree, but I figured, you know what? There's a lot of music coming out these days, which is pretty good, but I'm starting to realize it doesn't compare to the stuff that came out, and even the stuff that I missed the first time, or you may have missed the first time. So again, Eufaula by the Atlanta Rhythm Section. I will see if I can find a link where you can purchase that. You may not be able to. I mean, it's probably available on eBay or something. So in any event, let's get back to the topic du jour, which is this latest court filing by keyboardist and worship leader Jonathan Cain, because that's what he is. He leads worship at his church down here in Florida, not too far from where I live, but far enough where I can't just show up and ask for an autograph or hang out and wait. Hey, man. Hey, it's me. He'll probably run the other direction if I did that. I don't know if they'd let me in, actually. So it's kind of surprising that we're going down this road again. If you missed it, a few days ago, Jonathan Cain filed yet another lawsuit regarding the $1,500 a day allowance, which Neal Schon has apparently just destroyed, and has spent over $10,000 or close to $10,000 a night. And that's his hotel room allotment. Okay. So $10K, that's what we're looking at. And then the American Express card, which again, I think of that old slogan, don't leave home with it, or without it. It's supposed to be without it, but in this case, it might be with it. So Neal Schon apparently spent $1 million on the Amex card. Yikes. So Jonathan Cain again goes to court. The filing happened in Delaware at the Chancery Court, and they're looking for an arbitrator to step in and start to get a hold of these things and basically present maybe to the court to say, hey, you've got two sides that are claiming that the other side did something. Neal Schon has been claiming that the Kane team, which would be maybe Kane and his wife Paula, have been stealing and doing nefarious things behind his back. I would say it seems a little paranoid, but maybe there's truth to it. So if you have an arbitrator, you have somebody in there as a third party that the court appoints and says, hey, these guys are fighting. You monitor the situation and give us the facts. And that person is supposed to be independent and non-biased and all that. And hopefully they'll get to the bottom of it. But here's my take on this. I don't think Kane would do this if he wasn't 100% sure that his team was in the right. And obviously, Neal Schon hasn't said anything with regards to a countersuit. Neal, I guess, took to Instagram and said something like, hey, I've been in this band since 1973. This is basically my band. I've been here for every album, and I've given my all to the fans. And so the fans are supposed to say, well, that justifies this then. If you're spending $1 million on the American Express card and spending $10,000 a night in the hotel room, then it's okay. We're the fans and we say it's okay. And what this is going to end up being, and Jonathan Cain is not good at this. He doesn't go on to social media and he doesn't try to establish a narrative and drum it into everybody and say, yeah, this is bad and Neal needs to stop it. No, Jonathan Cain is very quiet when it comes to social media. And he may do an interview here or there, but typically they don't talk about things like this. I mean, John has done interviews recently. Neal, not as recently, but the bottom line is most of it is music talk. It has nothing to do with this other behind the scenes stuff that's going on. All I can say is this. The future of this band depends on how Neal Schon reacts to this situation. All right. And most of you probably don't care at this point. You're like, all right, I've had enough journey drama. It's like, I'm just going to turn the show off. I mean, don't we all get to that? We get to drama fatigue. We're like, yeah, I love this music. The band has never been the same since Steve Perry left. By the way, speaking of Steve Perry, again, like in every video where I have to talk about this stuff, Perry looks like a genius. He walked away in 1998, got his golden parachute, and has never had to deal with this drama other than saying, yes, you can use this song. No, you can't use this song. I mean, Neal was talking about a documentary like a week ago. I think I did a video about that. Like they want to do a documentary. Same with John. And they are asking Steve, hey, can you sign off on this? And no word from Steve Perry. You know, here's the thing, from Perry's standpoint, he's a businessman and he's going to look at this and say, no, I'm not putting my name on this. Number one, you guys aren't going to tell the truth about all the stuff that's happening now. Will they include all this stuff about money being spent and hotel rooms and, you know, just maybe what other people in the orbit of John and Neal are doing to influence the situation? Nobody's going to tell that story. Someone from the outside is going to have to tell that story, or somebody who is in the inside who knows what's going on. And I know a few things that are going on. I mean, I might be able to write a book someday. It wouldn't have all of the details, but it would have some of the details. But again, I don't know. That's not something that's going to happen anytime soon. You know, I know guys who were much closer to the situation who probably could write a book and are probably under some kind of a gag order that they can't talk about anything. So that's just speculation. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's the case. um, but again, it's nothing that I can really talk about or disclose. All I know is this band this time really could be over. But it will take a little while for this to work itself out. It may evolve into something else. Somebody may get control of the whole thing. And this makes the whole coup attempt thing sound kind of legitimate now as to like the reasoning why 3 or 4 guys would say, you know what, we need to wrestle this away and get it on solid financial footing because we've got a runaway train and we can't stop that train. And then we mention it, the train literally goes off the tracks, and there's some gaslighting back and forth about who's doing what to whom. And then the media not wanting to take a side. And the media, by the way, has a reason not to take the side of Jonathan Cain. And it's probably more political because John is kind of on the Trump team, and the media hates Trump so much that they don't want Jonathan Cain to be right. Nope. I believe that's part of this. But it seems as though Cain is going about this in a very methodical, reasonable way. So we'll see what happens, folks. But this is in Neal Schon's court, and his legal team is going to have to issue some kind of a statement, either saying, yeah, this happened, but Neal recognizes it happened, and he's not going to do it anymore, or no, this has been overblown, this never happened, or they're going to have to say, well, the other side does X, Y, and Z, and so Neal felt as though he didn't have to adhere to these other rules. I think they need an arbitrator, and I think that's part of what Jonathan Cain is trying to do, get that court-appointed liaison, whatever you want to call it, who looks at the books and says, okay, over here, you can't do $1 million a night. That is $1 million. There's the charge. Comes from, the hotel rooms or whatever else you're spending on. I mean, I don't know. How much more do you need? I keep saying that. How much more do you need? Food, shelter, and maybe some transportation. And I hear everybody's got a really nice sports car. So I don't get it. I mean, how many cars can you drive at the same time? There's something else going on. And I talked about that in the last video I did about Neal Schon and what his motivations might be. And look, I wish no ill will toward anybody in Journey. And if this is the end, and I don't think it's going to happen immediately, but if this is the end, then it's the end. These guys had a 50-plus year run. A lot of these bands need to just stop. They need to stop. Bands are being forced to stop because their singers can't sing anymore. Latest example, Aerosmith, right? Can't sing anymore. And so we're done. All right. I'm done, or almost. Before I go, one more plug for this great album by the Atlanta Rhythm Section called Eufaula. Late 90s, everybody missed it. The band was over like 20 years almost before that, like kind of petered out in the early 80s. Quinella is a brilliant album by ARS, and then they tried a couple of new things after that, and it just didn't sound like them. This kind of sounds like the vintage ARS that you would expect. And they're such a good band. If you go back and listen to their stuff from the 70s, 8 or 9 great songs on every album, and great guitar work and great singing and great songwriting, the whole thing. So anyway, thanks for watching. God bless you all, and stay safe. I'm living through a little tropical storm as it goes by, and it's offshore, but been a little sketchy today. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but I still have power, and no trees have fallen, but it's been raining cats and dogs. And so I'm just inside, hunkering down, enjoying life, and doing videos. So hopefully you enjoyed this one, and I will be back soon.